Hi, welcome back to Mechanic Garage. Bit of an update on the Riga 13 moped. You might have seen it in a couple of other videos. Not many people have seen it because it's a bit of a niche thing to really do. Not many people have seen it at all. However, I've been pottering along with it and just doing little bits here and there. It's not been the sort of thing I can film massively because it's just all little tiny bits over and over again. But I've managed to get some work done. I'll stick a lot of photos in the progress I've taken on the way. But for now, we'll go and have a look at it and see what state it's in. Right, the Trabant's been a bit of a workbench at the minute. Struggling for space because everything's cluttered up. However, you might have seen it before when it was green. Let's zoom out a little bit. No, that's it. Go back out. There you go. No, that's a bit wobbly, isn't it? Yeah. If you've seen the other videos, it was beige coloured and green. There's a tank I haven't painted yet. That sort of colour it was. Just hanging from the roof to keep it upright. It's I've put it back to its original colours, which is the blue and the white. New chain, well, new pedal chain. So if you watched one of the other ones, that's a little bit tight actually. If you watch one of the other videos, I snapped that and whacked this pedal into the back of my leg. Not this one particularly, they're new pedals. Engine, I'll just give it a wire brush to clean up. Quick check over, there's nothing to it. A little two-stroke engine. Little clutch on that side. Lever on this side, which disengages the drive. Pedal start, no kickstart. 45cc. And it's cleaned up quite well. Don't want to go over the top with it because we were never over the top anyway. There's a few little quirks with it. Things like, before I got it, the foot had been changed and welded back together on here. I've strengthened it up underneath, but that's because the stand isn't straight and the bottom's not straight. However, this being a different angle here and the different length feet, the bike sits upright, so it's good enough. It's not a show winner. It's not going to get used on the road. It's a bit of a trailer queen behind the Wartburg and eventually the Trabant, as I'm building the East German bike trailer for it. Not UK registered, as I said, so just got a plate identification on it. Changed the back light from what looked like a big 90s Japanese style light. Put something that's a bit more period looking for the bike being very basic and very old looking. Now, all I've done really is stripped everything down. You'll see in the photographs as I put them in. Stripped the entire frame, welded up a few bits down here. This is not my welding. No, not my welding. Repaired the brake linkage on the opposite side. And really I'm struggling for space, so just 2 seconds. Just squeeze around. Not break my neck. Too many bits of other cars in here, that's a problem. Yeah, I got the engine back together. Pedals back on, exhaust back on. It's basically a massive tidy up. The seats around the back, I've got some clips to redo that. Everything gets serviced and cleaned up. There we go, I'm back again. Everything getting serviced and cleaned up. Basically making it look half tidy. As you saw in a previous video, if you did watch them, it did run, got it started, no power in it whatsoever. But I couldn't help it because there was no pedal chain. So even if there was a slight gradient, it didn't want to play. But now the chains are sorted. I could not find a new drive chain. I took it to engineering places, I took it to bike shops, I took it to other places, I measured it, and not one of them could identify it. It's not a standard size, it would appear. It's wider for the pitch than it should be, and obviously it fits nicely on the sprockets. It's not like it's the wrong one, everything's proper on it, but I just couldn't find one. So I decided wire brush it, clean it all up, wash it all out, soak it in chain spray, and actually get it lubricated, ready and reuse it. As I say, it's not going on the road. It might be a fun thing now and again to ride about. Mudguard, I managed to get the mudguard stairs painted last night, got the whole thing in primer, but I ran out of warm air. it started getting a bit humid, so I stopped. And today it's done nothing but chuck it down. So I need to get white paint on this, wheels all cleaned up, and put it back together. So hopefully by the end of this video it'll all be back together and done. Right, it's a bit later on. I painted the fuel tank, just need to put a second coat on the top half, it's upside down. Just got a good coat on the bottom. I've taken it off the suspended frame and it's now on the ground, as you can see. Front mud guards all on, brakes and everything all in. I'll try and get you across, I can't get to it much, but I'll get some more photos of it tomorrow when the tank's dry and it's all on. I've still got a bit of edging strip to buy and the stickers I need for the tank. I did try buying some from Ukraine, but the money wouldn't go through for some reason. And the guy sat there waiting to post them, but it never arrived. I ain't got refunded off the bank, so it's not like he took it. Bit annoying, because that's one thing I can't get in this country. I have to get some made, I think. They're only fairly straightforward. And at the end of the day, there's not many of them to people to compare against if they're not quite right. So, yeah, it'll be fine. I clipped all the edge of the seat together. It's a little bit frayed around the edges, but it's the top half's all right. It's not split. It's just a leverette type covering starting to peel. But you just need to adjust the handlebars when it's all back together, so I can sit on it and position them. And other than that, she's about done. It's not the best angle, as I say. I'll get you some more photos in a bit. Well, a bit more video in a bit, hopefully. Right, it's the next day now. I've managed to get the tank painted, although it is quite windy out there. I've sort of managed to get another coat of paint on it. It's not perfect, it's alright. It's good enough for it, actually is. I've ordered a edging strip, just like join around there, and then that clamps on, and that's how it mounts onto the frame. I can't fit it yet because obviously I haven't got that and it'll scratch it all. But we'll go outside and have a look at the rest of it. Now the bike's outside. I keep calling it a bike. It's not really a bike, is it? Bikes actually do things. But yeah, there she is. You can actually see what's going on. I put it there because when I put it out here I was going to film it. The wind was starting to blow it over, and I thought we've had wind problems before. And let's back it a little bit. Yeah, it looks a bit odd without having the fuel tank on. It looks a bit bare, but you see the elaborate chain setup. One for the engine and one for the pedals. New pedals on it, as I said before. All the wiring's now secured back up and sorted. I've sorted the seat out, cleaned it all up, welded it. Was split in the bottom there, that was all broken up. But this is now solid, whereas before it used to be like sitting on a rocking chair. It was all over the place. Now, it's not going on the road, as I said before, so there's no wiring for the lights or anything. It just makes it look neater without it. There's no wiring up the switches and things, obviously didn't have anyway. It's going to be just a fun thing sort of have on the trailer. The handlebars are at a right awkward angle, but if you have them any further back, they'll see you sort of sat with them under your chin, like. But hopefully get the fuel tank on. I might get it running just to prove it does. Other than that, everything's sort of cleaned up and painted. I've not spent anything on it other than paint, really, because it worked. It was all right, and for what it's actually for, there's no real need to. I need to cut those bolts down a bit when the tank's on there, just in there, so I've got some. The cable ties at the top, they're hidden under the tank anyway. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. Trying to get some tank stickers for it. Now, the correct ones are only available in Eastern Europe, Latvia, Russia, places like that. I did try and get some from Ukraine. The guy was happy to send them. We spoke backwards and forwards through Google Translate. Got all his bank details, sent them all, and for whatever reason the bank never actually paid it through. I paid from my account. He never received it. Then it was refunded from mine about 2 weeks later. So I'm looking for other options of getting some made. I've got photographs of them, so I know what they're supposed to look like. I can work out the dimensions from looking at them sat on the tank and things like that. And as I said before, nobody's going to sit two together, so two of them next to each other and compare them, saying, well, that's in the wrong place and that's the wrong size. Because they're probably, I'd be very surprised if there's many or any of these in the UK. Obviously other than this one. But it's been good. It's been a good rebuild, and it turned out all right. I'm a little bit annoyed with the paint. It does chip really easily. You literally knock it, and you're seeing the white primer through underneath. The stuff I wanted to use, they're not doing that colour. It's nearly that colour, or not quite that colour, but that was the nearest I could get. It was a certain orange high street motoring store, and the two types of paint they had, one was like the normal car stuff, and then there was this other stuff that was a generic thing, and they only had 2 tins of this in the generic type stuff rather than the proper car stuff, so I bought that. Ended up having to buy another one as well from another shop because I didn't have any, but I didn't have enough, sorry. But it's worked alright. It sprays really well, it goes on really well. It's gone to like a satin finish, which isn't too bad. As I say, they were never built to be massively pretty. They were built as a purpose, mode of transport. It certainly looks a lot better than it did before. I'll stick an image in of it, how it looked before at now. That's a green. It wasn't original green or beige, and it did a reasonable job. They stripped it completely down and painted it, but now I've stripped it completely down and painted it back. So I've not had to buy any service items or anything apart from the pedal chain, which, as you saw, snapped, and the pedals, which they just looked scruffy. I could have reused them, but they were quite tired and battered, and the ends were rusty and stuff. I think they were like 12 quid, so it doesn't really owe me much. Probably spent less than sort of 50 quid on it, including all the paint and pedals, rubber things and chain. It literally, oh, new clips. The seat, where the seat clips on together, the cover goes on. There's little clips around here that hold the fabric to the steel. Most of those were missing, so the seat was a right funny shape because the foam was making it sit upright. But the edges of it, some places, were actually holding it down, so it was all wriggly. But I think it's turned out alright. Once I get the tank on, I shall do a proper ride around, maybe, and have a good proper look over it. It's just blowing a gale here. Ironically, it's dropped right where I'm sat. It's dropped down now. But I was hoping to get the welding done on that, but it's just too windy. You go down underneath the car and it's sort of blowing underneath. It's quite bad, so it's alright. It's come out quite well. I'm pleased with it. Yeah, okay, it chips easy, but it's going to get bolted onto a trailer I'm building as well. That's an old East German trailer tent chassis that I mentioned before. At least that way it's all authentic. East German, East Bloc, Russian, all from that sort of side of the planet. We've got to build a tow bar for the Wartburg. I have seen a genuine one. It's a little bit complicated, there's a lot going on. However, as it bolts to the chassis at the back end, between the back wheels, that's where the pulling goes from, and the rest of it's just support. It's only when we're towing a little lightweight trailer, there'll be more weight on it if I stand on the tow ball. So as long as it's secure across the back end and spread the load across the boot floor, then it'll be fine, because that's what they do. Just a lot more complicated parts to it. So once I get that made, hopefully I can make some shows this year with it, because that was the whole idea. Otherwise, it's going to be a sitting in the shed until next year. I'll stop rambling now. So thank you very much. Catch you in another video. Hopefully it'll be the Rover getting welded, and then we can get that for sale. Thanks very much. See you later.